Okay, so looking at our code here, now we need to just think about what happens with this get user choice function. So let me just run it to show you what I mean. Enter 1, 2 or 3. I'm going to hit return. It says I chose with scissors. I didn't. I hit return. Enter 1, 2 or 3. I'm going to press F. And it says I chose scissors. I didn't. I pressed F. So clearly our input validation isn't working particularly well here. Let's look at the code and see why. Well, here we've got the user's choice. We're expecting them to enter a 1, 2 or a 3. If they enter a 1, we get rock. If they enter a 2, we get paper. And any other entry gives me scissors. So that's not particularly good, because it doesn't matter what else I enter here, 3 or any other value, it's going to give me scissors. So I need to really think about this bit of code in here and see how I can rewrite it properly to validate the user input. Okay, so here we are, we've got our user's choice, and thinking about what's going on here, we need to keep asking the user to enter their choice until they enter a 1, a 2 or a 3. So when we think about saying that in English, we say really kind of repeat this until the user's choice is 1, 2 or 3. And if we could write repeat until, then that would work quite well. Unfortunately, we don't have the repeat until constructs in Python. We have a while construct. So we can do this while a particular condition is true. So remembering what the construct is, we need to write while. We're going to do some condition and then a colon, and then we're going to get the user's choice. So we've got to think about what's going to make us ask for the user's choice. Well, if they enter a 1 or a 2 or a 3, we want to exit out of the code. And we have to kind of reverse our logic on that. We want to think what makes us stay in this code, and that's obviously the opposite of it. If they've not entered a 1 and they've not entered a 2 and they've not entered a 3. Okay, so just to reiterate that again, what we're saying is we want to execute this line until they enter a 1 or a 2 or a 3. So if the user choice was 1 or 2 or 3, we want to exit the code. We don't have that construct to repeat until something occurs. We have the while construct. And the while construct is looking for us to put something in here which evaluates to true if we want to repeat the code. So you've got to ask yourself the question, why would you want to repeat this code? Well, you'd want to repeat this code if the user input was not 1 and it was not 2 and it was not 3. So it's kind of the reverse of that. So we while the user's choice does not equal 1 and user's choice does not equal 2 and user's choice does not equal 3. Now, you don't actually need the brackets around it. I do tend to kind of like brackets. They seem to put things together. So while the user's choice is not 1 and it's not 2 and it's not 3, re-ask the question. Immediately the user puts in a number that is 1 or 2 or 3, then this top line here will be false, because one of these will be false, because it will be 1, 2 or 3, and it'll exit, and we'll come down here. We'll know now user's choice is 1, 2 or 3, and therefore our program will work. So let's run that and see what happens. I've got invalid syntax. Oh, there's a typo there. That should have been an equal sign. And oh gosh, straight into an error. Local variable user's choice reference before assignment, and that occurred on line 65. So go back into my code, have a look where line 65 is. There we go. Yeah, line 65 is here. So user's choice was referenced before assignment. Well, hang on, I define it here, but the very first time I hit this loop, I haven't got any user input already. So I've got a number of options here. I could either ask the question initially, I could put this user's choice, a copy of it outside. What it's actually easier to do in this case is just to preset the user's choice variable to be an empty string or anything. It doesn't matter as long as it's not a 1, 2 or 3. Because now it's an invalid input, it's not 1, 2 or 3, this will all evaluate to true, so it will now ask the question, and it will go around this loop until we put in a 1, 2 or 3. So let's just run that code. Enter 1, 2 or 3, so I'm going to hit return, enter your choice, enter 1, 2 or 3. I don't know where that enter your choice came from. Press an E, enter 1, 2 or 3, F. Yeah, it looks like it's going around that loop for me. I'm going to test the condition group 4, that's kind of at the top end. I'm going to put 0, that's at the bottom end. And it's not until I put the actual valid digit 1, 2 or 3. Oh, that's failed as well. So we've obviously got a problem in our code here. So 1 should have not worked. What's gone on? So our user's choice is not 1, it's not 2 and not 3. What's gone on here? Well, if you watched the video before, you'll have picked it up because we've just kind of made the same mistake that we made last time. Obviously our user's choice here is returned from the input as a string. So user's choice will be a string, and it will be the string 1, the string 2 or the string 3. So that's where our problem is. I can just reference the string rather than the integer values. So there you go, we kind of got a false sense of security then. It was working and then it was chucking everything out, but it didn't accept the correct ones. So 1, 2 or 3, put in an R, hit return, put in a 4, put in a 0, 7, 4, put in a 0, that's kind of the bottom end of the range. A load of gobbledygook, and now try a 1. Hooray, and it goes in. So we've improved our function now. At least we're asking the question, please enter a 1, 2 or a 3, and we're checking that they're entering a 1, a 2 or a 3 before we actually allow them to proceed and carry on with the game. Great stuff. Okay, last bit to think about on this then is, could we improve it any more? So let's just run our code again, and when we accidentally hit space, we just prompted with the same question all the time, and you might be thinking maybe something's gone wrong on your keyboard. Maybe you're thinking I'm allowed to enter 4, and it just keeps asking you the same question. So really the next thing is, could we improve on this and maybe give the user a bit more feedback about what they're doing wrong? Now I know in this case it's pretty obvious, you're told to enter 1, 2 or 3, but if the question was more generic and you genuinely thought you were giving a valid answer, it could be very reasonable for the program to give you some guidance and say what you're doing wrong. So we'll look at how to provide some feedback when people get it wrong in the next video.